blindfolded badges, so you guys all know. If 2 random people come up here, you can't all come up here, as much as we love you. So, who here likes Steven Universe? Is everyone who's caught up with all the recent? Is there anyone who's not caught up with all the recent stuff? I don't have we'll try to learn, but
I've been trying.
Yeah, hopefully we won't really have spoilers, but I guess. Well, I guess some of you might like spoilers, but not everyone.
Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to see so many faces, so many fans of something that we're both fans.
Who's dressed up as Steven Universe characters? You should totally all stand up for a second.
Wow.
Oh my god. Beautiful. All the rest of you do too, but since it's the Universe channel, we gotta focus on that. Okay, I guess we should just start.
Alright, we'll go ahead and start then.
Do the thing.
Alright, so basically we're here today to talk about Steven Universe, the effect that he's had on the citizens of Beach City, the effect that he's had on us, the effect that they've had on him.
A lot of the show is about the relationships, which is what makes it such a good show. And a lot of them are pretty unique, so that's what we'll talk about mostly.
Alright, so we decided to start with the gems first, because obviously they're kind of the major part of Steven's life right now. As far as we can tell at the beginning of the show, he seems to have somewhat recently moved in with them, since there's still like several things he doesn't realize about them, like the So Many Birthdays episode. Like, he didn't realize they never celebrated a birthday. So it's like, if he'd been living with us all this time, he'd probably have realized, hey, why aren't they having a birthday party every year when I'm having mine? So from what we can gather, he has basically just moved in with them, which is really good for the audience, because we get to see his relationship develop with them. We get to see, we get to learn about them from his point of view, which is good. Because I don't know if any of you guys are gems, but I don't know anything about gems or their culture, so.
Yeah, there's also a lot that they intentionally keep from him to shield him from the world, which is understandable. In some ways, they sort of are like, they're sort of all his moms, but it's not that simple. I mean, I'd say Amethyst is more of a sister to him. It's a very complicated family dynamic that they have, and I love that they have it. There's even that episode where he goes to meet Connie's parents for the first time. They all fuse into one super mom.
And that's great. Oh, speaking of the effect that Steven has on the people of Beach City and the gems, that's pretty interesting. They're like, okay, no, Steven, we're only supposed to fuse in dangerous situations, and yet he still convinces all 3 of them to fuse, when clearly they don't like to all of them fuse together that much anyway.
They didn't do so great.
But yet he still got them to do it, clearly because of their love for him.
Yeah, this show is just a great example of, as they pointed out, a non-nuclear family doing its thing really well.
You want to talk about the specific effects? Okay. Well, I guess we'll go clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever. Pearl. We see Pearl kind of develop with Steven. If you think about all of them, especially when we look back at the one where it kind of has a flashback of when Rose and Greg met each other, it seems like the other 3 are almost like Rose's children in a way. Like, they really look up to her. I mean, obviously she's their leader, but they also seem like
more than that.
Yeah. Their children, the family, they're very close bond. And then of course, when Rose becomes Steven, that sort of changes. And now he's the kid, and they have to take care of the person who was formerly taking care of them.
I hope they show flashbacks at some point of like baby Steven, and those 3 being clueless. How fun would that be?
Seriously. What else? So yeah, so Pearl and Steven. Clearly we've seen now that Pearl like really looked up to Rose a lot. Some people, I don't know how many of you guys believe this, but some people believe that Pearl is basically in love with Rose. I saw somebody ready to cheer. So either way, it's clearly like when Stephen came into the world, she basically lost this person that she loved a lot, and yet she gained a new person that she loved a lot, but it's still, as we saw in some episodes, like what is it, Rose's scabbard? Yeah. She realizes she wasn't quite as super perfectly special to Rose as she thought she was. Even though I'm sure she was still super special, she realizes she didn't know everything that she thought she did.
And she's still very protective of Stephen.
Yeah.
They could have gone the route that she was jealous of him for taking away her Rose, but she loves him too.
Yeah. And yeah, and I mean, we see Stephen learning from Pearl about being strong in the real way, if you guys all remember that song. He learns that it doesn't just have to take group strength, which as a half gem is probably super important for him to learn, like, and for all of us watching. Like, we don't all have to be one type of person to be the best kind of person. Like, we might look up to a certain kind of person, but that doesn't mean we have to be exactly like them to be a great person ourselves.
Speaking of great people, who's next? Amethyst?
Amethyst. Now, very interesting, if you want to.
Like Stephen, she also originated from the earth, unlike the other gems.
She's quite a character.
She has also very interesting relationships with everyone else. At the beginning, they sort of go the route of, oh, she's the loose cannon, you know, she doesn't care, and she's a rebel, but clearly, as it went on, if you've seen the recent episode where, I don't know if I should spoil it, but one of the recent episodes, they show how she interacts with everyone else. She cares a lot, and that's something that they show in every character in the show. They don't really villainize anyone, except maybe the off-Earth gems that come to invade, but everyone on Earth is basically a good but flawed person.
I don't know, onion? I don't know.
There's an exception.
I mean, even Stephen isn't really sure if he's human, but I'm kind of scared.
Yeah, I take that comment back. Do we have any onion cosplayers? Good. Okay.
Do we have any onion fans?
Alright, too bad.
I'm sorry, but even he's like an interesting, like normally like a scary character like that would be like
mysterious.
Yeah, you'd think he would be like older, you know, they're older, scary. Let's go on to, so we talked about Amethyst, and it's also interesting because she seems to view Stephen more as an equal. I mean, she's still also protective, but she often seems to view him more as an equal than the other gems do.
They have a lot of their own little adventures going on, like when they ran away to visit Comicon.
And then let's see, we have Garnet.
Say about that.
Everyone loves Square Mom. Yeah, so
definitely one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, that has been interesting because we clearly see Garnet isn't quite as openly emotional as the other two. Like even Pearl likes to act like she's, you know, like calm and everything. But we've seen her freak out when anything happens to Stephen. Once again, so many birthdays, when he starts turning old, she's freaking out the most and like can't even
her face with the pie.
But so Garnet is like the most calm generally, but we still see her show a lot of love for Stephen, like in pretty much everything she does.
At first, I assumed that she was kind of the leader of the group. But I feel like she was sort of awkwardly thrust in that position after Rose left. And you definitely see that later on.
Let's see. Sorry, I was looking at other panels to show up on that.
I hope they didn't get into a fight or something. We have
got beat up on the way.
Our other panelists are Nazgul and Asami, so you never know what kind of trouble they're going to get into.
Maybe they fused.
That's true. Asami and a Nazgul would be pretty scary. I can see how that would be hard.
You see a giant lady walking here, just
Keep talking about
so one of the major changes of how we see Garnet happened when they were all abducted onto the ship. And it was a huge moment in the show. We found out that Garnet was actually a fusion. I'm sorry if you haven't seen that part yet, but it's awesome. I'll just let you know. Yeah, Ruby and Sapphire are quite the pair. Did anyone predict this? Because they actually had little hints to it. In the episode we mentioned earlier about when Connie's parents meet Steven's family, when they all break apart, for a split second, you can actually see Sapphire and Ruby, along with Pearl and Amethyst, split apart, and they go right back together.
Who was totally surprised when they revealed Ruby and Sapphire? Who saw theories on Tumblr and kind of and who totally guessed it themselves before they saw anything? You guys are amazing. I never would have guessed that. That was pretty awesome.
Possibly one of the most stable relationships on TV.
Okay, let's see. And right, so we're going to keep going through these. Hopefully our other panelists will show up soon. Currently, they were novice number panelists, so they have to go into the longer line. We'll keep going through these. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask at any time, but we do also have several Beach City citizens to get through. So, Steven and Connie, one of the, main friendships on the show, if not the main one, considering it's like his main human friend. Human. He has a lot of friends. We guys have all seen Steven.
But I feel like he shares the most with Connie.
It's true.
I mean, they did fuse, so. I can imagine him fusing with, Lars.
Want to see Lars Steven fusion? Want to see what their dance would be like? Lars super awkward.
But even before they fused, you could see how close they were.
So we've kind of seen them affect each other, with Steven affecting Connie on, clearly she was shy. As she said in the first episode, she had no friends. She was getting super emotional. If she died, no one would miss her, which is pretty deep for kids these days to be thinking about. But we have also seen Steven at this very young age thinking about his death, seeing himself die,
seeing his gems die. They didn't die, but it was pretty traumatic for him.
Especially when Pearl gets stabbed by her hologram, and
that took me by surprise.
So we see him kind of bring her out of her shell by putting them both in a bubble. So, and we see her effect on Steven, giving him more stable human friend his age, not just with gems. We were just watching the Lion Tube, the movie.
Yeah, we were almost
because
we were watching Steven Universe.
Yeah. That's a good reason to wait, right? And Lion, they have to fight that weird floaty thing, right? And Lion suddenly starts glowing, and then the sword comes out of his head. And Steven says, "This is weird, right?" to Connie, because it's he might not even know what's weird anymore.
His life is so skewed.
He has to ask her, it's weird when a sword comes out of a pink lion's head, right? But then we've also seen him giving her more bravery, with her, she basically helped him fight that thing with her tennis expertise.
Connie has saved the day many times. It's true. And also when they go into the Rose's world, and the weird hologram Connie comes up, and she has to fight that. That show messed me up. That episode.
Who started watching this thinking it would just be an innocent children's show, and then whoa. But then there seems to be a lot of good cartoons out right now that are like that, right? Yeah, all right. We'll go on to the next person. Stephen's dad,
Greg Universe.
Yes. So that's also been interesting to see. When you first see him, you know, with his balding and his like, he lives in a van. What?
What's the deal with Greg's hair?
He's thinning.
Yeah, he still has so much. You think he'd like go like that with it? But yeah, so we first see him, you think, oh, okay, this guy, like,
Yeah,
he's just gonna be like.
You kind of think of him as a deadbeat dad. He's not living with Stephen, but as the show goes on, you can see that that's clearly not the case. I mean, he's a huge inspiration for Stephen. He's his buddy. He's incredibly supportive. Even when he freaks out after Stephen gets abducted and then brought back to Earth, by the end, he accepts that this is Stephen's life, and he never tries to hold him back.
Exactly. And I mean, we see that he's also kind of reliant on Stephen. That time that Stephen healed his leg, but he's still pretending it was broken just so he could hang out more with Stephen.
That's another thing about the relationships in the show regarding Stephen. He helps everyone, but you can also see how they all help and change him.
Yeah. Yeah, and once again, like Stephen, even though he's one of the youngest, still a lot, oftentimes, seems to be equals with all the people that he's relationships with. Like even with his dad, like he's his dad, but they're also basically friends. They do shenanigans with each other. Oops, sorry.
That's one of my favorite things about the character Steven Universe. They made this like perfect combination of innocence and emotional maturity that it really makes the show.
All right, the cool kids. We got one of their selfies here. You want to bring them? I think
Now, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of the times, teenagers in TV,
they're like super
they
annoying.
don't have the best reputation.
They're like really
They're just very
rebels,
stereotypes.
rebels. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to see these guys like. There's this little kid, and they think he's so cool, they're like, want to go hang out with him. And they're like, hey, it's nighttime, you're not busy, let's go hang out and have fun. Like, that's how cool they think this kid is. And then they even stick up for him against the gems.
So, oh man, the
like,
feels.
they're like, hey, you know, he's been under a lot of pressure, let him have some fun. And then they even get the gems to take selfies with them. That's pretty
Just
sweet.
let it be a DJ. Have you guys noticed about how, I don't know if this is just like an artistic decision or if it means something, but have you noticed how they kind of correspond with the gems?
Has everyone, who's not seen how they match with the gems, the cool kids? You? Okay, so sour cream. I don't know, I think I saw something where the creators said she did it on purpose, but I just don't remember. We couldn't find that link in time to be completely sure. But sour cream is supposed to be Pearl, like Pearl, not exactly, clearly. I don't think Pearl's gonna be starting any raves anytime soon.
That would be awesome.
But Dewey, he's supposed to be Garnet. I think the glasses kind of couldn't give that away a little. And then Jenny is Amethyst, which we also see in the episode Beach Party when they have the pizza family come over and Stephen matches
That was
everyone up.
definitely a good episode for developing in the relationships between the gems and the people of Beach City, facilitated by Stephen. I mean, when Garnet crashes into the pizza sign and he's yelling at her from the ground, she's not even responding. To the gems, a lot of the time it's like the humans aren't even there. But Stephen makes them acknowledge the people and remember what they're fighting for.
Yeah, that's true, because when they lost Rose, I mean, Rose was the one who clearly cared the most for humans, was most excited about Earth and all the life on it. And then when, like, she's gone, they have, like, no connection at all. But now they have someone who's half human, showing them, hey, guess what, humans are pretty amazing. I know you guys don't think that much of them, and yet you're still, I mean, if you're going to protect them, you might as well be friends with them too, right? Yeah. Oh, all right.
Keep City weird.
Okay, fine, go ahead.
Alright, I just want to point out real quick, you guys probably noticed this, but she didn't, so. Sour cream is,
In this episode, he mentions his stepdad wanting him to be a fisherman. We see...
And they sort of hinted that his stepdad is Onion's dad, which makes their names Sour Cream and Onion. That's something to, very detailed show. So we've got the fry pan, not including Frybo, because let's not talk about Frybo. So we have this little kid who seems to be the most together of any of them. Even Steven's dad pointed out, he's like, oh, you know, they really trust you a lot. And he's like, don't patronize me, sir. But he's got some action. And we have, what's the middle guy's name? Ronaldo, thank you. He seems to be sort of an outcast with a lot of the characters in the show. They show what happened with him and Lars, which was pretty heartbreaking. But as Steven does, he seems to be, you know, the only one who understands Ronaldo, who I wouldn't say puts up with him. He does more. He helps him out. Except when he was trying to dissect his watermelon, Steven, which was pretty disturbing. Another pretty interesting character. Who's the dad? I don't know what to say about that guy, but interesting character design. Also, a lot of cohesive designs with their hair. They're all pretty different, but they all kind of remind you of fries. Alright, the pizzas. I'm pretty sure this is a shot from the episode where, I think it's called Beach Party. And as I already mentioned, a great episode for bonding, character development. We've got Jenny, Kiki, Nana, and I forgot the dad's name.
Goofy.
Possibly. But yeah, they were really important as far as how the humans interact with the gems and how the gems see the humans. I don't think that, you might disagree, I don't think that the gems really see most humans as equals right now, but this episode was a huge step forward for them, I think. And there's nothing like uniting against a common enemy to bring people together. Lars and Sadie. Definitely a rocking relationship here. Seems to have lost all of my fellow panelists. That's right, I've got you guys.
You got the dog.
You got Naga.
You got Naga. You got Naga.
My other panelist. Lars and Sadie. I feel like with this show, they set you up for a lot of expectations. A lot of, like, they could have gone the route of having very simple, straightforward relationships that, as we know, a lot of TV shows, stories kind of fall into, just because that's the formula, they want to stick to it. But not for Steven Universe, no. These two, you kind of expected them to be together in some capacity, and in a way they were, but they got past that, especially on the episode they were stuck on that island for I don't know how long. And now I guess they're back to being friends. Lion mask. I wish I had a lion. Don't Now, you guys probably noticed how a lot of the usual magical animal companion is often like a sentient being who, I mean, in some capacities Lion might be, but we just don't know. As Steven says, he kind of does his own thing. Which is really interesting because he's portrayed so much like a realistic animal. I mean, except the fact that he's giant and pink and has a world inside of his mane. But other than that, I mean, the reactions that he has. Does anyone have any theories about Lion? Because even Pearl didn't realize that Lion was somehow related to Rose. We have a hand.
Well, I think he's also just Lion, but
By a very special character. Although it does get into a lot of trouble, it's usually worth it. So that was the end of the picture part of our presentation. Does anybody have...
To continue on that part with Lion, because the show depicts Steven as only half a gem or partial of a gem, there's that one episode where Pearl is just finding about all this stuff about Lion and stuff.
Oh yeah, Rose the Scouter?
Yeah, her not being able to go into Lion. Maybe the other half of Steven's Pearl, or his gem, Lion represents that other half too.
That's a good point. Did everyone hear that?
Yeah. It's like a guardian animal.
Yeah. Basically what was said was that Lion is sort of tied to the half of Steven that is Pearl. No one else can use the abilities that Lion has as Steven can. And we have a horse back there who wants to say something. Or what?
So, who won that fight? Steven Universe or Corey Baxter?
Or who? Corey Baxter. I'm not sure who that is.
That's from Raven.
Oh, I didn't catch up on my TV. I feel like Steven wouldn't want to fight unless
relationship between Steven and Lapis.
Steven and Lapis was definitely, I mean, the gems were so ready to just keep Lapis contained, but Steven, as he's often shown, was the one who was willing to give someone a chance. And I mean, I feel like that had huge benefits for them. They were warned about the gems coming back to invade. We have our Cora back. What was brought up was the relationship of Steven and Lapis, which we didn't have on the slide. But I feel like
That's true, and we did. Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, we did consider putting that, but then I was like, I said Peach City citizens. Should I add that? And then I'm like, if anyone asks, we can talk about it.
So thank you.
Yeah. So, because that we were saying is one of the most like interesting, right? Like, Lapis is clearly a person who fought for the home world and not the not the rebels. And yet, she seems to befriend Steven in her weird mirror way. And I don't know how much did you already start talking about her?
Oh, just the question about her. I was talking about how we do for chances.
Oh yes. He decided to trust her, and they were all like freaking out, like, no. Clearly, there's things like, did the crystal gems know she's stuck in there? Did they just know that it's some kind of gem? Like, they knew someone was in there, and yet they didn't bother taking them out?
They did fight against her, so you can see they might hold a little bit of a grudge. And when they were stuck on the ship, Steven came to help her out. I mean, Ruby left, because she's like, I don't care.
She's like, whatever, yes.
Do you think Rose was part of it, like trapping Lapis in the mirror, or do you think it was just the 3 gems in a row?
That is a good question. Did you guys all hear that? She was asking, do you think that Rose was part of it, trapping these gems? Or do you think like it just happened on their own?
Like
Or?
the 3 gems after Rose.
Oh, did the 3 gems after Rose left do it on their own? Well,
they did talk about how Rose would bubble the gem shards so that she could later heal them. She may have bubbled some of the other gems, the defeated ones.
but there's also hints that, okay, so we clearly see there's like that whole battlefield and everything. And they have captured the like defective broken ones. And there was definitely more gems that were on Rose and the Crystal Gem's side. And so we know she was trying to heal those ones. But then
She'd only protect the
was
closest
she
friends.
trying to heal like clearly Lapis is in a mirror. So it's like, did some humans find the gem and be like, oh, this is pretty, let's put it in the mirror? But then, no, because Pearl says it's, what was it? Who remembers what it was? It was like a communication device or something.
It was like a gem relic that shows the history.
Yeah, the gem relic, the history thing. Yes, thank you. So clearly the gems did this, but then it's like, That's kind of like horrific, like using your own like.
Well, I mean, it's also kind of horrific that they invaded Earth and tried to
So it's
steal everything.
and yet they didn't just crush the gem and leave it so that there's no chance of this person coming back into these monster things. So I would guess, I would think Rose would have been part of that because she loves Earth so much. I think she would do that to defend Earth, and you know, but also not just being so cruel as to like crush their gems into dust. I don't know exactly what would kill them. We've seen how they have issues when their gems are cracked. They haven't exactly seen how they die. So
I feel like Rose wouldn't, like, she loves both the Earth and the gem world, and
she does love both
because
of them, yeah.
she treasures both of them. Instead of killing them, she could put them like to use instead of like them harm. Like instead of killing them, they would put them to use instead.
Exactly. So yeah, so she was saying she feels like Rose would rather than just completely kill them. She would want to put them to use at least, give them some sort of a life rather than just like giving them absolutely nothing, which I think would make sense. I do think that Rose probably would have been involved in this and they just continue. And then that would make sense because then that would be why they only bubble them, because they aren't as good as Rose as like making them into new things.
Yeah, and the Rose was just to touch on how, another visual hint of how, what kind of leader Rose was. The yellow diamonds, or any of the diamonds, the off-world, the home-world gems, Lapis,
they mentioned
Jasper,
yellow diamond, and
Peridot.
if you look on Jasper and Paradox, they both have the same. At first I thought, oh, it just kind of matches with their colors, but then I looked, the color on Jasper and Jasper and Peridot both have the exact same color of yellow of the diamond.
But my point was that the diamonds, who are clearly some kind of rulers of the homeworld, they have, on their people, they have the diamond emblem. But with Rose, I mean, we've seen her emblem, which is that triangular rose thingy. But on the gems, their emblem is the star, and you can see it on all of them, even Stephen. And it's sort of representing the 5 of them together. So it's just goes to show you a different kind of leadership.
All right, a few more front, people in the back. You in the back.
Is it possible that Lion could be a regenerated gem? Because I believe in the first episode you saw him, he does have a gem on his chest underneath his name.
Lion has a gem on his chest?
Yes.
I didn't notice that. That would be interesting if Lion was a regenerated gem, and that's the only way that Rose could keep him, that gem, alive.
Kind of makes sense what you were saying on Rose being able to rebuild the gems.
That's true. That would be interesting. And he can take like a human form. They took a lion form, or maybe she put it on something that turned into a lion, and that's why they can't like shapeshift. But then, like they said, since it's pink, it seems like it could even just be part. And since they have like, he has like the other dimension inside his name, I think it could be more of like a construct, sort of how Pearl can make constructs. That would be really cool though. That would be really cool. That would be interesting. Okay, Pink Cat.
I feel like Lion is more half of Rose. Like
Half of Rose.
Rose's main weapons were her shield and her sword, but Stephen can only summon her shield. And when he tries to transform like the other gems, he can only do certain parts of his body. So I feel like Stephen only has half of Rose's power, and Lion is the other half.
That would be interesting. If Lion was the other half of Rose's power, and that would be an interesting way for her to like keep that safe. And also, since half human Stephen might not be able to take on all that power, that would be cool. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Woohoo! Yay, we made it. Now we're taking questions from the audience. So yes, blue shirt.
All right. It seems like that battle that the Gems had on Earth took place really a long time
Yes.
ago. And the one thing I noticed throughout the series is that the humans seem to be still a little shocked that gems are a thing.
Yes.
I keep wondering, did they come down like during like prehistory?
Well, because they mention, I believe the first battle they mentioned was 5,000 years ago. So that would be super early humans. I don't know if
Yeah, the girl does mention something about.
and then there's also theories that there was 2 major battles. So one, I think, about 5,000 years ago, and then one slightly later than that. But as we did see, and once again in the flashback episode, they have like a fence around their thing. With the flashback, there's more than one flashback episode. The one where Greg meets Rose.
Yeah.
Like he climbs over the fence. Like clearly they have kept their distance. Even when Rose is around and she loves humans, they're still keeping their distance from humans. Everybody's like, who are these things? Green shirt, legend seller?
There is a theory online that Lapis is somehow related to one of the diamonds. Because when they first enter the strawberry battlefield, they find that huge triangle.
Yeah.
They go inside and there's the painting, and one of them has what looks like wings underneath their
there was white diamond, blue diamond, and yellow diamond,
yeah,
right?
so it's theorized that maybe like she's close to one of the diamonds.
Yes.
Like,
And that's why I was
thinking part of white diamonds.
Because no, blue diamond probably. Because when you look, like I said, when I saw Jasper and Peridot, I keep wanting to say Lapis. Jasper and Peridot, they both have the exact same color of yellow on their thing. So it's like, oh well, I mean they all have diamonds, but if they both can have the same exact color of yellow for yellow diamond, which they mention explicitly that there's a yellow diamond, maybe her blue isn't just because she's blue, she's a blue person, but also because she was with Blue Diamond.
yeah, because of that, I'm thinking maybe she was put inside the mirror as a prisoner of war almost.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And then they found out because water is reflective, that's one of its, its talents, or its
Let's make her into a mirror.
It was a mirror. So that's what I'm thinking maybe happened.
Yes. You guys yes, with the gold scarf. Go ahead. I can go over here next.
No, I was holding my hand over.
Oh, go ahead. Girls, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to mention 2 things.
All right.
On that, when Pearl and Steven make the spaceship, Pearl changes her outfit and has a pink triangle in it. And so there's a theory going around that Rose Quartz might have actually been pink diamond because the gem does not look like quartz. It looks like.
Did everyone hear that? She's saying there's a theory when Steven and Pearl are making the spaceship, Pearl changed her outfit into her spacesuit outfit, right? And she has a pink triangle, and so some people are saying maybe she was pink diamond, and because it doesn't look like a rose quartz, her usual one.
Rose quartz is cloudy, diamonds are clear.
Oh, rose quartz is cloudy and diamonds are clear. That's interesting. That's kind of scary. And then second?
There's another thing that mentioned when they were cleaning out Greg's storage unit that Steven said, when did you ever have a cat? Because there's a cat carrier in there. And so there's a theory going around that the other half of Rose Quartz was made into their cat, so that's what happened to Lion.
Oh, and then so she said with the one where they're cleaning out Greg's garage and Steven's upset and he's like, when did you even ever have a cat? And he throws away that carrier. They're saying that could also go with the lion thing, where that was the half of her going into lion. That would be really cute if you started out with a little cub. Okay, so you make one. Yeah.
Just wanted to mention 2 things. First, in regards to Ronaldo, throughout the show we constantly see him talking about his blog, Beach City Weird.
Yeah.
That's an actual Tumblr that someone I think the staff updates.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it yet, Keep Beach City Weird is an actual Tumblr. Look it up. It's amazing. It's in character. It's beautiful.
Like, in regards to one of the later episodes that has to do with letters, he gets a letter and it's messed up because of what happened in the show. And then the second thing I wanted to mention in regards to the gem wars that a lot of people talk about, Greg very suspiciously mentions, I have no idea about the gem war. It's not like I was there. And Greg's only like maybe 40 years old. Maybe.
Yeah.
So
we were thinking that they probably attacked more than once the different diamonds.
Yeah, because one theory is. There's one theory where the first one, like really long ago, when they first decided to rebel, was against White Diamond. Like she said with the the pyramid thing, the upside down pyramid that they go into, it seems to show, I believe it seems to show White Diamond first, and they're like, okay, she must have been captured, and that's what the gem thing that they get out of the pyramid is probably white diamonds, and that's why it was so like intense and like hard to get into to save that gem, was because somebody, either the crystal gems or White Diamond's followers, built this thing around her to basically keep her gem protected until she could heal herself. And then it seems to show another battle with Blue Diamond, which shows Rose directly across fighting. And then the third picture, we're pretty sure is Yellow Diamond, who, as far as we know, hasn't come to Earth yet.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of little visual hints in the show.
Okay, Pink here.
What do you think about the theory that Yellow Diamond is onion?
Oh god. Would somebody else like to answer this? Because I found this and my mind was like, oh my god. Because as you guys know, sorry onion fans, but I do not like onion at all. But if you guys remember that? Yeah. Go ahead. What do you guys think of the possibility of onion being Yellow Diamond?
That's actually the first thing that you said to me after that show. You're like, maybe onion's
As interesting as the theory is, I don't think that there's enough evidence, because somebody did mention how they were talking about reporting back to Yellow Diamond, and you would think that the followers of Yellow Diamond would know that Yellow Diamond was already on Earth, so it seems kind of a little off to me that they wouldn't know that. Someone needs yellow?
I just not on that subject.
Oh, that's okay.
I just kind of wanted to take it back to these city systems. It's interesting that we never see the only nuclear family with like a mom, a dad, and a child we see is Connie's family, who are technically beach city citizens.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone else has like a single father, a single parent that.
Or multiple parents.
Yeah, so if you guys can hear her, she's saying like it's interesting, there's only like one actual like nuclear family that we see with a single father, mother, and child, which is Connie and the Maheshwans. And it's interesting, like, and they're like the Indian family rather than, you know, the like generic American family, which is just like the blonde people, the blonde kid, maybe a dog. She doesn't have a dog, but she has, you know, lion's practically her pet now too, right? But it's interesting, yes. And she's not even technically like, they don't quite live in Beach City. And yeah, she spends a lot of time in Beach City, so she's practically a Beach City citizen herself. Yeah. All right. Yes, right there.
So one thing I'm kind of wondering, just based on the. Okay, first off, have you seen the tease for Stephen Bomb 2.0?
No. And just in case, no spoilers for the next Stephen Bomb. If you guys haven't heard, because I know we're probably all suffering because of lack of Stephen, so I'm glad you guys are all here, so we can share it now.
Share it together.
But they have announced, what is it, June 15th is last time?
June 15th to 19th.
June 15th through 19th. Stephen's coming back, guys. For a week. We might disappear again, but at least we'll get our fix.
Great question, Pat.
Yes.
This is about some of the teaser information they released about the episode.
Does anyone mind if it's just teasers? Does anyone mind if he brings it up? Anyone like your ears?
Some spoilers.
Just want to be sure before I put in any spoilers.
Go ahead.
So, in one of the upcoming episodes, we're supposed to see Connie learn to fight from her. Does this mean that we're going to see Connie become more involved with a lot of the upcoming gem?
That would be awesome. She seems already, for a little human girl, to be really involved in this. I mean, she was there with the Lapis battle. She was there, like, you know, like, she seems already, so it's like, you might as well train her in sword fighting because she looks like a kid.
She's infused with Stephen, and we've seen her use Rose's sword.
Yeah. True.
I mean, I have a tennis racket, but it is effective, so.
All right. Okay, who's next? Back there in the hat?
So, there's an episode where Stephen has been established. He's happy, and he's immune during jailbreak to the gem world weapons. Like, Peridot actually hits it. What moved Garnet.
Yeah.
And he just kind of goes like, and he's fine. So they're surprised that he's immune to it. So Stephen has that quality, which none of the other gems have. They're vulnerable to it. He's not. He's also the only gem that seems to be able to fuse with humans.
Yeah, because it's got the whole half-human thing going for him.
But I mean,
so is there a chance that when Rose ceased to be, she knew based off of the video from that previous episode, that when she ceased to be, it would make Stephen, and she needed to not be there so Stephen could.
So your question is that, do we think, did Rose know what she was doing more than just, I'm going to have a love child? Did she know, literally, love, did she know that this child would be stronger in a way by being half gem, half human?
Because when she met Greg, he was young.
So and it took her a while before,
romance, and then in that episode, you see Greg is now like...
He's already balding, yeah.
So they were together for years, and then now she seemed to understand and left the message for Stephen.
Yeah. Do you guys think Rose planned for Stephen to be the ultimate weapon?
I don't know. I think Greg was just irresistible. And she... have you seen the hair?
Yeah, even Amethyst can that hair. I thought it was interesting you mentioned that Stephen's the only one who can fuse with humans because the others haven't really seemed to try, right? And judging by Pearl's attitude towards humans, it seems like it might be an odd or possibly even like disgusting thing to do maybe because it might be a little, it seemed like an intimate thing that they would have to go through, and so...
But if Stephen fuses with a human, and the weapon doesn't work on him, if he fused with try to develop each city because everybody likes it, would they even be able to break them apart?
Well, because we also don't know. Since that thing, all we saw was it broke apart Garnet as a fusion. Stephen's not a fusion on his own. So we don't know what it does, because they didn't show us what it does to like Pearl or Amethyst. We don't know what it does to just a single gem anyway. So maybe, I mean, I'm sure it affected him less anyway because of him being half human, but we don't know exactly. So he, like, basically, it could still have that effect of him splitting. If he had been fused with, say, Connie at the time, it could have still split, yes.
Did anyone make a theory about why the gems seem to have aged since they met? Rose Quartz met Greg, like, because they seemed a lot younger then. Because I know there was something that said that maybe they aged because Rose died, but I think there's also a possibility that maybe they might have aged because they had to take care of a baby, and that kind of made them, you know, have to be more mature in that sense. So are there any, like...
Yeah, since their age is a state of mind.
Yeah. Any ideas on that? And if you had any comments on the previous subjects, you can.
On the thing for his state of age, I think because since Greg came around, they were around humans more, and that they saw that slowly humans age, so they thought we could probably blend in and learn more if we age our bodies slowly like the humans.
Yeah, so they were saying, they just said, the gems might have thought, as they were watching humans like Greg age, they might have thought we can probably like blend in more and learn about them more if we also age a little.
I think the gems, except when it comes to Stephen's immediate, like everyone affects him, they're not really interested about learning about humans.
That's true. I'm not tell Stephen Force.
Yeah.
A person with the horse head, I saw you waving your arms.
There's this theory going around on Reddit that the star in Stephen's drink, the 5-point star, is actually a symbol of Satanism.
Is that the 5-point star the symbol of what?
I can imagine that Stephen would be into that.
That would be interesting.
Isn't that upside down?
Yeah.
I mean, not that I know that much.
This is what you're doing,
Also, did anyone have any or theories about why or how maybe they're trying to house the statue. I've just read stuff and I've noticed actually that they have as many pairs of arms as there are with the gems, and I'm pretty sure it's a fusion of rose quartz, garnet, which would be ruby and sapphire, pearl, and amethyst. And I wondered if anyone had any theories about like why that was broken, or maybe
I actually don't know. Sorry, who wants to go ahead.
Something that I thought was interesting was that less about the fact that the theory that it might be an amalgamation of all the gems together, like rose and all them, but I thought what was interesting is that you see that every time we see technology from Homeworld, it's based off of some part of the body. Like for example, the ship that Peridot and Jasper came down on was a hand, and then the red crystal eye, which a lot of people think was like a drone sent by Homeworld, was obviously an eye. So I think it's interesting to think that people think that maybe the entirety of Homeworld is like a huge body, and the various parts of it are divided into the different anatomical sections of it. And I think that maybe the temple might have been some kind of recreation, or maybe even a ship that they came down on that was also based off of like the same thing.
Yeah, I haven't even thought of that one. Alright. Sorry, we are running out. We're almost out of time. But I also wanted to ask real quick, since we were talking about the effect of Stephen and the effect of Stephen on others and what they've had on him, who here has been like personally really affected in any way, whatever way you've been affected by Stephen, the things you see in the show itself, like personally? When I first started seeing things about Steven Universe, it was like, oh, it looks cute, I don't know if I'll watch it, but then one time I was like feeling really like down, and one of my friends was like, well, when I feel like that, I watch Steven Universe. I'm like, okay. So now I watch Steven Universe, and I'm like, I can enjoy it anytime, but it especially helps me when I'm like, I'm feeling down, I don't feel like doing anything else, I can't really deal with anything, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch Steven, because I know it'll make me happy. Does anyone have any personal stories you want to share? You guys? Rocky? Blue shirt?
Well, first off, that's what Steven does in every single episode. That's all he ever does is to make other people.
Exactly. His goal is always to make people happy, feeling good. Yeah. For sure.
If I had to think about it, the most influential episode would be the one where he watches the video with Sadie of his mom.
Yes, when he watches the video of his mom with Sadie. Yeah. That's a good one. Orange hair?
So, like, if Stephen got fatally wounded, would he regenerate or would he die?
If Stephen was fatally wounded, would he regenerate or would he die? That was the question. Because even when he was doing the aging, and they had said, well, gems can't die from aging, but then they're like, oh God, he's half human, can he die from aging?
Yeah, the gems know.
So I don't think anyone at this point knows. Like the gems can maybe guess, but they don't know considering he's half human. I would think, especially with his healing powers, unless he's like chopped in half or something, he could probably heal himself. I mean, but he'd probably be more wounded. I don't know if he could regenerate like.
The one in the red vest, sure. Back up. I'm sorry, I can't see from here. Red vest, yeah.
Actually,
Kim, sorry.
Yeah, actually on the subject of effects of Steven Universe, I have to say, it makes me feel so much better about myself seeing how unique these casts are and the characters are in society. Like, let's face it, the main character is a little chubby.
The chubby, yes, the different body types.
Honestly, as somebody who is a bit large,
it's true. It's like to finally like show in a positive light, and like you're saying, like especially for like larger people. Like I saw someone comment on Rose and how like she's huge, she's fat, she's overweight by human standards, and yet when she goes to talk to Greg and she like leaps over, she lands so like gracefully, and they don't turn into a joke. They don't, like, they're like, look, this is the leader of the Gem Rebellion, and she's huge in, like, more ways than one. She's really tall, too. And they just show that in a really positive light, and that's also really good for kids, little kids to see too, and basically anyone of any age.
Yeah, sort of going back to the question of whether or not you could, die. It's interesting to note that in development for the app, the RPG app, they were originally going to have a peanut butter flavored cookie cat, but the developers specifically decided against it because it is plot critical. Steven is allergic to peanuts.
It's plot critical that Steven's allergic to peanuts. So what you're saying is if he can't eat Reese's peanut butter cups, and if you try to eat one, let's test out this theory of why can Steven survive?
Another thing that I just really wanted to mention is I thought it was interesting how they have onions, and his mother, who's also a type of, her name is a type of onion,
Vidalia.
Yeah, Vidalia. And how what he watches are the what breakfast foods that are crying.
Breakfast
And what are onions known to do, right? They make people cry. So I just wondered if maybe there's something going on there with the foods and maybe how they affect the body, because we're saying the body parts. Yes?
There's a theory going around because all of the gems have recently regenerated Amethyst and Garnet, that they might do something with Steven, and that he with the peanuts thing, they might make it so something happens where he regenerates and outfit changes somehow.
So she said there's a theory that since all of the gems have been regenerated recently, that people are saying Steven might also regenerate soon. And what was it? That they might do something with the peanut butter?
Yeah.
And basically, that would be interesting to see.
Has anyone noticed the GameCube, the Nintendo 64, and the Sailor Moon?
The Sonic? The Sonic?
Alright. So, sadly, we are over our time slightly. But if you guys want to chat, I'm going to be taking this stuff down, pictures, come and chat with us, take pictures, you guys all.
Thank you all so much for coming.